Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Good morning. Happy Friday, Dr. Andrea. How are you today?
Hunky and Dory, as always.
As always, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So we have 2 exceptional people joining us today because we're going to be talking about awaken your hidden potential.
Yeah.
Oof, so many people have hidden potential. They just don't know it. So we're going to help them unlock it today. Let's
Sounds
go ahead
like
and bring
plan.
Bethany and Paul. Good morning. Happy Friday to both of you.
Good
morning.
Beautiful humans.
Yes.
So-
I got to say, I'm sorry. Bethany was telling us that she's writing a book, and I want to hear a little bit about that.
Excellent.
I am. So it's called Nurturing Your Seeds of Potential. And it's about how we all have potential within us. And it's about basically those seeds, and we can either nurture them and what that looks like and the skill set that happens, or we can let them kind of wither away and die. And if that happens, there still is an environment where we can take those seeds and still nourish them.
And for those of you who are listening, and if you hear birds, they are Bethany's birds, and we just love the sound of nature in your home. So thank you.
I do have nature.
Yes, you do. I love the concept of the seeds because there are people who take seeds, they even go buy seeds, yet they do nothing with them. They put them in a drawer, right? But when you plant them, that's not enough either. You still have to take care of them. So it's like your potential.
It is. That's beautiful. I grew up, so my family owns a greenhouse, a nursery. And when we were young, all of us would work outside, and my dad owned a little landscaping business. And what we would do is, because plants were really expensive to purchase when you're just a business owner, everything is, when you're starting, it's just expensive, right? And so all of us, we had a greenhouse, we'd plant these seeds and we'd watch them grow, and we'd use them for my dad's landscaping. And it was so beautiful to be able to be a part of this. And still today, all of my family is involved in the nursery and the business and things like that. And it's amazing to see back the beginning when we were just planting little tiny seeds and how that grew into a huge business that my parents have.
Yeah. I love that. What are your thoughts, Paul?
About seeds. Well,
No, about anything.
potential. It's interesting because I listen to all of it, and I listen to it and I think about it metaphorically, right? And I think about this whole journey of life. And one of the metaphors I use with one of my clients is that I talk about the computers and operating systems, because it's really easy for people to kind of make a connection to that. And I said, we're all born and we kind of go on record for like 7 years as children, right? And that gives us our baseline operating system and all the ways to perceive the world, all of our values, all the things that we learn what to do and what not to do. And after that, and we transition into more of an adolescent space up into our adulthood, we are using those programs, I'll call that the foundational baseline program or operating system, to kind of navigate the world. And then we get information and we get education, right? We'll call that the upgrade patch. And there's lots of information out there, right? Now you can Google everything, Grok everything, Gemini everything. ChatGPT, all of it. You got all the information at your fingertips. Back in the day, we had to go to the library and get the encyclopedia. But now you got all the information at your fingertips. The problem, or the challenge that we have is many people have the information, right? They might even download the upgrade patch, but they never double click on it, right? And so that's all this possible potential or missing or potential that we're missing because we just don't do the double click. But then to take it even a step further, sometimes we do double click on the upgrade. And we open the program and say, oh, wait a minute, things have changed. The menu bar changed to this side, or I don't like the way this looks, so I'm going to go back to the old program. And we never use the upgraded program to actually see what it is that we have the potential to do and evolve into. And so I love the metaphors of life because, even we could be talking about it in different ways, but it really is the same thing. The things that we don't do with the information because we have enough awareness. But if you don't do anything with the information, even though we can say, oh, I know all about meditation, or I know all about that, I've heard these things before. Yeah, but what did you do with it? Oh, it's too hard. I don't have time for all that. It's like, well, then you've missed out what you could potentially experience in life, right? If all you had done was done something with the information, and it doesn't have to be big, just do something. If it works, great, learn from that. If it doesn't work, great, learn from that, adjust and try again. Mm-hmm. And so when we fail to take action, that's all the missed potential.
It is. I'm just curious. Wow, that was powerful. Double click, people. Double click, but then take a look. Dr. Andrea, I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on this topic that we are discussing?
Well, the whole idea, we're all seeds. We all have seeds of ideas or thoughts or inspirations. Some that we plant and then forget about, and sometimes they grow accidentally. The sun shines on them and they get water, even though we may have not intentionally done that. And at the same time, the potential that we all have. I think it's very rare that we all live into our potential. We live into aspects of it, but to be able to keep doing it, and we allow things to get in the way, whether it's people, things, places, thoughts, ideas, beliefs, traditions, interrupt that potential. And so often it's our own selves that keep any seed from growing. Not other people might be there, but it's our own selves that allow the other people to have even been an influence on what we're doing or not doing. So I appreciate, I know Paul well and Bethany, and I appreciate what you were saying about your family and how they grew that into an entire business. It's amazing. And I see all of us that we do different things, different seeds with different people and different aspects to help them grow. And it is interesting because if we think about each one of us as an individual business, each one of us can help one seed grow. So it doesn't have to be one, or that's why I tell people all the time, you don't need one mentor, you need multiple. Like I have several coaches, several mentors for different areas of my life. And I want people to invest in themselves so that their seeds grow to their full potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. And having more than one mentor or coach, somebody that you can bounce ideas off is important. I'm actually listening to a audiobook as I drive because, for me, it's University on Wheels. And it's Success Habits by Napoleon Hill, right? And one of the things that he talked about is a gentleman who built a 10 by 10 room that is super soundproof. And he's got a light. And he shuts the light. And he's sitting at a table. And he's got tons of paper and pencils so that he shuts the light. And he has an idea or a problem. But he can't come, and there was one that he had for 10 years, he couldn't come up with a solution. But when he built this room and he did this experiment, he shut the light. No noise, no anything, just him and his mind. And it was this thought, that seed, that eventually was building. The roots were growing. He just didn't see anything coming from it. But it came to him. Something he could not have solved for 10 years is because he took the time to nurture it. He put the light on and wrote for 3 hours. And the solution came to him because he took the time to put the energy into it. And so many times, and I loved hearing that because it's in all of us. We have the potential, but do we give it the bandwidth to capture it? Do we even journal? I love journaling. Listen, I got different ones here. I'm journaling all the time. But then I transfer those to a different one because then I put all my thoughts together. And then later on, I may put it away, but then I come back to it and I go, oh, that made sense. Or what the heck was I even thinking? Right? What is wrong with me? But if I didn't put it down, I could not go back to look at it. Because when you write it down, that's the seeds that you're planting, right? That's the thought process. And then when you verbalize it, you hear it. So it's 3 ways that you're communicating. One is through thought, the other one is through sound, and the other one is through listening. So I believe that we have this potential, but we don't explore it. I'm going to leave it there.
Something that I think is unique about this topic is that one of the things I will talk about in my book is that sometimes plants and seeds can get sick. And we don't talk about, this lapse in our lives. We go through this like roller coaster of our lives. Sometimes it's really, really difficult to, push through something. And sometimes we just leave it there. And when that happens, we're not progressing. We're completely stagnant. And really, we have the potential to grow, but we don't. And slowly that just becomes sick and withers away. But that doesn't mean it's dead. There's a lot of things that can go dormant. And all it takes is just, all right, let's give this the right nutrients. Let's give it the right things so that we can pick up the growth again. I think a lot of times, I can't even remember his name, but there used to be about 80% of all boats and ships that used to sail off into sea used to sink, and sailing was a scary thing. And then there was a man, and I cannot remember his name, but he did the mathematical equation to figure out that you actually had to weigh all the people and weigh all the things to be on a boat. And we can only hold so much, even though everything is, our lives are so big and we can hold so many things. Realistically, if we overload ourselves too much, even with a mental load or things like that, even though we look like this amazing, magnificent thing, if we're overloaded, we will sink. We're also a mathematical equation of the weight that we can carry within too. And we don't want to sink.
Nathaniel Bodwich.
Awesome. Thank you.
Boom.
Always, because he felt the law of buoyancy, right? So
yes.
And so, no, and buoyancy is really about balance, right?
Yes.
And Sifu, you were talking a little bit earlier about, I call it stillness, right? And being able to get still, right? Stillness leads to more focus and more clarity. But you have to allow yourself the space. You have to invite yourself into a space to sit still. And where people are challenged is that they think when they get still, they have to be doing something. I have to make my mind stop working. I have to make all the thoughts stop. And we find ourselves in these practices of frustration and anxiety and disappointment because we're so focused on making it stop. When by nature, it will stop on its own. It just processes information, processes through. And then you find that threshold of stillness. And that's where the clarity comes from. And that's where the focus comes from. I was thinking about Thomas Edison, as you were telling the story earlier.
Yes.
Or every great inventor. Einstein did the same thing. right? They found themselves in that threshold and an in-between state when they got still, and almost sleeping, where, you know, they were in that in-between state, and then they had some mechanism to wake them up, and they had all the thoughts right there, and then journaling, right? Recording that information as fast as possible before you lose it. But then the key is to do something with it again, right? So there's stillness, there's balance, because it was stated earlier, you know, we have life gets in the way, you know, we have dogs, we have pets, we have houses, we have partners, we have relationships, we have work, jobs, you know, clients, and things happen. And sometimes things happen to us and through us, right? Whether they've been intentional or not, or something that's planned or not. And that's always going to happen. But it's really about how we find balance in that, how we find compassion and forgiveness for ourselves, because our ideas, they do go dormant when life gets in the way, right? But how much intention are we putting on reviving that? You know, maybe it's not important. Maybe that's why it never gets revived. But, you know, so where is it on our list of priorities, the things that we kind of use to govern our lives and how we're going to approach things? I mean, these are all so being human is complex, right? It's not black and white. It's either we're going to be successful or not. I mean, yeah, sometimes it works out that way. But I think that, you know, when we start looking at people who are successful, who've been able to tap into their potential more regularly, because I agree, I don't believe that we are in our top potential peak state every single minute of the day. I don't think that's possible. I think it's possible for us to be there more often. Right. But we got to find balance in those spaces where we'd like to tap into more potential. And if we can do that and we can learn the formula, then it becomes something that we can do on demand. I'm not going to say easier, but something that we can more intentionally do on demand.
I agree.
You know, when we consider, and I love the fact that we brought seeds into this. Bethany, you're the powerhouse here. But think about a seed doesn't grow without the roots, without the foundation, right?
Yes.
And just for that seed to break the ground, it has to go through dirt. It has to fight. It has to really struggle to see that sun, to see that sunlight, to get the water's coming, the nutrients are coming. But even when it has reached a height that we can all see, things get in the way. And I know that Bethany's going to tell me that sometimes we need the weeds, but sometimes the weeds try to strangle it, right? A storm will come. Somebody will try to pull it out. Somebody won't know what it is. But think about in a huge storm, which trees survive? The ones with the deepest roots, right? And there are trees out there that are gorgeous, but their roots are very to the surface. And a big storm will come and take them down. The ones that survive are the ones that sway in the wind, the ones that move. This is why if you go to anywhere in New York City, all those buildings that are really high, they're very high going down, if you will. Their foundation is deep. The Empire State Building is several stories down so that it can sway when the winds come. When all of these torrential rains and storms and all of these things come, they still stand. So we need the foundation to be strong. And that's where the foundation is in our mind. We need to build that. And stillness definitely helps with that.
Yes.
I build my foundation every night. I put on my mask. I put on a mask for my eyes, not for my face, right? So just for my eyes so that I have no light coming in. So, and this is what I ask. I don't want to go to sleep to sleep. I want to go to sleep to work. So I'm one of those guys that I love doing things. So when I'm sleeping, I don't want to sleep. I want to work while I sleep. So I give my mind instructions. I ask God for instructions. I ask him to direct me, to give me guidance while I sleep. so that when I wake up, and sometimes I'm up at 2, 3 in the morning and I go right. Why? Because things came in, because I got the direction, I got the instructions, and I cannot wait. And one day, not too long ago, I went to sleep around 10:30. At 12:30, I was up. I could not go back to sleep. And I immediately went to write. And at like 4:30, I'm like, oh, well, I'm usually up at this time, so I might as well shower and stop writing and then, go about my day. But, and that whole day, I was not tired. I was energized because I put my mind to work. I'm just one of those, I guess, crazy people.
When you were
That's
talking
awesome.
about the trees, I live in the country, so I've seen many a tree topple, and
Mm,
um, and I agree with you that the strongest foundation that tree stands is more likely to stand. However, if that tree, even though its roots are really deep, does not have flexibility in its
mhm,
upper branches, it still can then break at the root, and then the whole thing is down instead of part of the tree snapping off. So, so I would say that not only um, is the foundation super important, but while you're building that strong foundation to keep learning and adapting so that you have the flexibility to change with how things happen in the world. And that's not only personal, like for personal health, but for in a business as well.
mhm,
We never know when things are going to change and grow, and it's so funny how every day there's a new something, a new software, a new idea, a new thought that we need to learn in order to stay in the game. And I think it's quite interesting. In fact, there's a class or a seminar next week where it's talking to people about doing autonomy vehicles, and then I realized, that's a whole class teaching people how to be able to use something that's considered autonomous, because
mm,
it's not like you just get in and it reads your mind and it does. You have to be able to tell it what to do. So autonomous is only autonomous with the instruction that they give it.
mhm.
So,
Mhm.
you know, everything changes now. Even like the other day, I was wanting a McDonald's tea. I like my McDonald's iced tea, and I had to think, oh wait, they didn't have something, and so to be able to fill out the app to get your little awards, and I'm like, that's a whole learning thing, and that I didn't realize that like I'm able to grasp and change. But I was thinking about people who maybe have trouble learning, or who dyslexic, or who are older and haven't gotten the idea of that we constantly have to be learning. So you're in your car learning a whole new system to do something. You have to be fast and be thinking. That's a lot of flexibility in our lives as entrepreneurs, is what new software is next.
Mhm. Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I like what Sifu was saying too, and even Paul, because really all of it kind of boils down to your environment, like setting up your environment.
Mhm.
Because if you want to be able to nurture the tree, nurture the seed, nurture the roots, nurture the branches, nurture every part of you, and have that flexibility, you have to set up your environment so that it's going to be capable of nurturing that. I mean, there's so many times where if I leave my, bubble of my routine and I have to go do something else, I try really hard to keep that same routine, but it's off because my environment is not the same.
Mm,
When your environment changes, you do have to have that flexibility. You also need to have that self-discipline, but your environment really affects everything, and being conscientious of setting up that environment for success. And if what's happening now isn't working, that means that your environment is not working. Take a step back. There's so many times I'll set up classrooms when I was a teacher, and if you ever want to know if your environment is working, just space wise, have a whole bunch of 5-year-olds come in there and see how quickly they can rip something apart.
oh yeah.
But no, there would be times I'd set up in my classroom and I'd be like, okay, these are things, behaviors or problems I want to prevent, like running, throwing, things that kids do. And so you'd set up your environment and you'd step back and you could see, oh, wow, I just literally made a runway. This is not a good environment. oh, I literally did this. And so we do this in our own lives too. We think that something is beautiful and it's good and aesthetically perfect, and it doesn't work. Take a step back. Okay, did you just create a runway for you to always fail and fall and always do the thing that you're trying to stop doing? How are you setting up this environment so that you're going to be successful? How are you setting up this environment so that you're going to reach your goals and keep that potential that you're trying to nurture? So I think environment is like a crucial aspect of like creating the perfect growth, environment for our seeds and for our roots and for everything.
I love that, because your environment also sets you up in so many ways, right? Mentally, physically, how you feel. If you're claustrophobic, being in a closed space is not going to be helpful to you. But if nature, which I think really expands our horizons, because when we're out in nature, there is no limiting. It's when we're closed off, when we're in a building, we're in a skyscraper, we're in an elevator, when we're in a tunnel, a train, anything, in a car, there is that confinement. But when we hit nature, there's that expanse, right? Have you ever walked in a desert where you see nothing but sand? Have you walked in a forest where you see nothing but trees? Have you been in the ocean where there is nothing around you but water? There's so many thoughts that can go into in that situation. So in order for us to really expand our horizons, I think we need to change our environments. Because if we're only in water, that's all we're going to see. That's all we're going to imagine. If we're only in the forest, we're never going to know the other things. If we're on a mountaintop, we're never going to see the other things. We're going to see a lot. We're going to see over things, no doubt. But we may not see the details that we may be able to see in a city. Did I say city? Can I share something with you guys? Take a look at this. Take a look. Because I did say city, and I'm going to talk about New York City. Take a peek.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC experience mastermind, where purpose is found.
So I love the fact that Dr. Andrea is over there dancing. She's moving.
I love the music.
Thank you. One of the things that I realized that StreamYard has done is that it allows us now to put QR codes. So that QR code that you see up there, that's for the New York City experience. And I created
it for you.
I created one for each one of you. So when you're talking, I'm going to put your, for example, right? This is for me, if you want to get in touch with me. This is Bethany's QR code. This is Paul's QR code. This is Dr. Andrea's QR code. Each one of them is unique. So if you're watching this, you can QR code us.
Lovely.
Very cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's cool when technology keeps advancing, right? It helps us navigate and create things that we never even imagined. So Dr. Andrea, let me tell you which one that one was. That's your QR code, right?
Hold it up.
Yeah, you hold it up. So right? It went right to your website, right?
Yeah, nice.
So you guys want to pull out your phone? You can follow Dr. Andrea. You can follow Paul. Now let's put up Paul's. This is Paul. So this is Paul's QR code, right? So go ahead, click on it. Dr. Andrea's going to make sure that you got your right website going on, right? And then, for example, ready? This is Bethany's QR code to her website, right? And then, so think about that. It's pretty cool. I already shared mine. That's mine right there. And this is the one for the New York City experience. So when you guys are talking, you may see the code switch, because I figured it's a good way for people to connect with you a little bit more.
That is very cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, right?
Very cool.
That's why we pay so much money to be on StreamYard.
Now the trick to do them all and then to keep them in your browser is, as soon as you look at one in your browser, hit plus, so that you
Yes.
open a new browser. And then when you take the picture, so now I have all 5 of those things on the page right now. So I have all of ours.
Excellent.
That's
So
awesome.
that way you can see multiple things at once, keep all the information, and look at it later.
That's
Nice.
cool.
Look at
So-
us sprouting branches on our tree.
What?
So, Sifu?
So I wanted to say, a lot of times that seed cannot grow by itself. It needs the farmer. It needs the person who's maybe growing it at home. It needs assistance. And this is why I love coaching so much. I love mentorship so much. Trainers, you need someone to help and guide you in your journey. Every super duper duper successful person I've ever met never did it alone. Never, never, ever, ever did it alone. They always had somebody who shared something, who showed them the way, who maybe tighten up the timeline so they didn't have to waste 3 years. Maybe they did it in 3 months. So this is why it's important that we do connect with everybody on the show. This is why it's important that everybody has their own specialty, and maybe it doesn't coordinate with what you're doing, but somebody will, and you should look for that person that's going to help you evolve into the new you need to become, because every day you should continue to grow. I had a guest on my show earlier, and I loved what he said, and I'm going to share it, right? And it's Tommy Kilpatrick, and he said, and I loved it, your mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open. I was like, I'm going to write that down and keep it.
That is a good one.
That is a very good one. So I got to give him props for that.
It's awesome. It's very true. And I think so many times we actually close our minds off and we don't let us expand. We will not. I don't know. I think we have a lot of fear. And I think that because we have fear approaching things and changing our environments and doing new things, it does change the way that we want to approach things. And I think that that is definitely a way that we end up closing our parachute. It's because that fear, sometimes we let rule our lives and not let us do the things that we really need to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just changed it, so now that's Bethany's QR code. And now Paul's going to talk, so I'm gonna go to Paul. You ready? Go, Paul. Go. See it change.
What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I think that, so that fear, right? I mean, it's part of our perspective, right? Our perceptions. Our lives are shaped by our experiences, past experiences, perspectives, perceptions, values, things that we observe. And then we have those experiences, right? And those lived experiences then shape our reality. But I mean, even on this call, we got 4 different realities happening right now, right? All based on who you were and who you are today and all the things that led up to that. The beautiful part of it is that everything that you've experienced, whether you want to classify it as good or bad, led to this moment right now, right? So we spend a lot of time judging our moments and getting stuck in our moments and really the emotions that we attach to those moments that then determine how we feel. And then if we get stuck in that and we get in the loop of that, then we're suffering, right? And the suffering is always a choice for us, right? We don't have to suffer. We're intended to experience all the full range of emotions as a human being. You're supposed to experience everything from hate to love and all the things in between, right? Then the question is, what did you learn from those experiences? Those experiences taught you something. And sometimes the teacher says, I don't want that anymore, or I want more of this over here. But if we can get out of getting attached to it and looping in it, then we don't suffer. And that further exacerbates the fear that we experience when we need to come out of, and I hate to use the word need or should, but when we need to come out of this bubble and do something different. You were talking about adapting, and we were talking about changing our environments. It's one of the reasons why I moved to Florida. You know, I was born and raised in DC, and for most of my entire life, I lived in DC or in the DC metro area, with the exception of my time in the military. And a thing that, that I've learned, or that I've experienced and learned over years, number one, it's also true, you have lots of mentors and you have coaches and people who give you guidance. No one successful has ever done it by themselves. This is not supposed to be a solo journey, right? But sometimes, if we get back to the seed metaphor and talking about plants and trees and the roots and flexibility, I kept thinking about the definition of resilience, right? The reason why all those things happen to us, whether there's a storm or there's weeds or we find ourselves in a stagnant place, is because something needs to change and we need to adapt. And so when I think about resilience, it's about preparing for, adapting in, and recovering from stress, challenge, and adversity. If you don't have stress, if you don't have challenges, if you don't have adversity, you don't grow. You don't grow. And so when you hit the plateau, you have to look at all the areas. And now when I think about resilience, there's emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual resilience. Where is it that you need to grow, right? Where do you need to adapt? Because that's the thing that's holding us back when we feel the stagnation, when we feel the resistance, when we feel all that fear. There's something in one of those areas that's holding us back, and we really need to get to a point where we can identify what that is so we can move forward. And even then, that's a choice, because you can identify it, but if you're kind of like, it's not, it's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. Guess what? You won't change anything. Like for me, the hardest thing to do was move from DC to Florida. I served in the military. I was overseas. I was in every ocean on the planet. But the hardest thing for me to do was to move from DC to Florida. Why was that? Because of my past experiences and my perceptions and where things felt comfortable. But if you find yourself in a place of stagnation where you're not able to grow, sometimes you got to change the environment. You can change your mindset all day long. You can change your emotions all day long. You can change your spirituality, you can change your spiritual practices all day long. But if that's not working, physical, right? Something has to shift. And so I love the connections with resilience and flexibility and adapting. And even when you said, when you see, all you see is water, all you see is sand, and all you see is trees, that's all you know. So then we have to find the courage, if you will, to explore other options. But we can only explore those options if the curiosity takes us there. Because if we're not open, back to the parachute metaphor, if our mind's not open to it, we'll never do it.
I think an interesting thing. Oh, go ahead, Andrea.
I appreciate that you say that, Paul, because, I do a lot of theater, and I love theater because it expands culture. You learn different things about different people through the experiences of the stage characters and reading. And as people read more and experience things and go to plays or musicals or other places in the world, their eyes open to what is possible, because, Sifu's definitely right. If you've never left your city, then you have no idea what other things are possible. And Bethany, what did you want to add to that?
Oh, I was just going to talk about how, we always have a why, and the growth part is uncomfortable. And it's called uncomfortable growth for a reason, because it's not supposed to be comfortable. If we're comfortable, we're not growing. And I think we forget sometimes. I think I've talked to Sifu about this, but I'm a Montessori teacher. And so everything is in my mind very clear with 1, 2, 3 steps. And so I've always taught, the triangle of self-discipline. And realistically, most of the reason why we start something and we have all the best intentions to change this habit or, create direction in our lives, we have the reason why. And that is the first part of that triangle. We have the determination, the reason why, and what it is. And then the other part of that triangle, you have the other part, which is it is more of the why. You have the reason, then you have the why. But you have the reason and you have the why. I need this. This is why. You are creating this. That is where people stop. The piece that we're missing is the foundation, the roots, and that is the accountability piece. That is what holds your triangle together. If you want to have true change, you want to have true just movement instead of staying stagnant, you have to have an accountability piece. There has to be a reason why you need to do what you need to do. Right. What is your why? How are you going to hold yourself accountable to the changes that you want to make, to the growth that you want to have? How are you going to do that? What are you going to do to hold yourself accountable?
Love it. Love it. Wow. What a great conversation. And I know we're running out of time, but I want everybody to think about how do you awaken your hidden potential? You sometimes have to look in the mirror. And sometimes that's not enough. Because if you look in the mirror, you may need more than one mirror, right? When you get a haircut, that's for the gentleman. And even for the ladies, when you get a haircut, hair coloring, don't they put a mirror behind you and the mirror in front of you? So you have to look both ways. You have to look ahead of you to see what's behind you, and you have to look behind you to see what's ahead of you. Sometimes you have to do it from the other side. So you may have to be in a circular mirror to see all angles, but then you're not looking at the top. Because if you're looking at the top, you're not seeing the bottom. So this is why I think somebody there to help you find your hidden potential is critical. Mm-hmm. And I am so blessed to know every single one of you, that we are running out of time. So here's the thing. What I'm going to do is put up your QR code. And at the same time, I'm going to put up your link so people can find you, and tell us why, 45 seconds, why somebody should reach out to you. So thank you, Leon, for joining us as well. I appreciate you being here with us. So let's go ahead and go with Bethany first, because you're already there, my dear. So go for it.
Okay. I love for people to connect with me because I'm very good at clarity and teaching the skill set that we're missing. And when we feel like we're, not having the right seeds and potential to grow those seeds, I'm really good at helping to identify how you need to change that environment and grow those seeds. That's why you should connect with me.
You should connect with her because she's brilliant. I am blessed every time I'm in your presence. So thank you, Bethany.
Thank you, Sifu.
Paul, you're up, my friend. I put your link and I'm about to put your QR code. Go for it.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I think you said it best. We have experiences in our life, and we spend so much time trying to do it by ourselves. We've been sold a bad deal, right? It's not a solo journey. It's a journey that's expected to be done in a collective, right? The awakening piece, or the awareness piece, is on you, right? But once you have the awareness, then you have a decision to make, because you can either sit in the awareness knowing that I'm not where I want to be, or I'm not who I say I want to be, or things are not feeling like I'm at peace, or whatever that is. I don't know what my identity is. that's when it's time to ask for help. And I think that many of us resist that asking for help. And so, people will connect to me because, number one, I'm a good human being, just like everybody else here, right? But I think the other part is too that we genuinely have an interest in helping and seeing other people succeed. The legacy is being able to help other people. For me, purpose is really easy. Grow and give. Grow yourself, give to others. Love yourself, love others. The how you do that is your calling. And I'm called to serve, just like everyone else here. So you should connect to me because I'm here to serve you.
Absolutely. And Paul is a servant leader for sure. And when I say leader, the guy knows how to lead. Thank you for your service, by the way. I know you were in the Navy, and the Navy is not the same since you left it, by the way.
It's not. Neither is any of the armed forces, but hey.
Dr. Andrea, tell us why we need to connect with you. And I know I love connecting with you. Go
Well,
for it.
thank you, Sifu. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, and I've had some lovely conversations with Paul. The main reason to connect with me is I'm an includer. I include people in everything that I do. So if you feel like you're too much or you're not enough or you don't know something or you don't know someone or you want to do something different with your life, I'm all of that. I include people in so that they have the ability to expand out. And I'm known as the woman with a $15 billion Rolodex. And I truly love on people. So if you want to be loved, come around. TheRedCarpetConnection.com. Thanks, Sifu. And how about you, Sifu?
Oh, well, what can I say? I'm Sifu Rafael. Let me just change one thing here so you can see me. So let's consider everything that you've heard today, right? And I think everyone of stature, anybody who is impressing upon how they can help someone, the only way that they can actually help someone is when they're selfless, when they're truly looking to help someone. So for me, that speaks, that's my volume, that's my world. So I help people reset, restore, and rise, whether that's through their health, their communication, or the way they show up in leadership. Because you need to show up. Wherever you go, there you are. So you need to show up. So for me, it's not about adding more to your plate. It's about giving you clarity and a proven system that fuels your purpose without burning out. Because a lot of people do burn out. And sometimes you don't even know you're burning out until it's a little too late. So let's not do that, right? So I'm here to serve by helping you unlock the discipline, energy, and mindset that already lives inside of you so you can show up stronger for yourself, most importantly for your family and for your mission, because we all have a mission in life. Let's follow it. So if you want to connect with me, I'm easy to find, SifuRafael.com. Can't get any easier than that. So thank you, everybody. Do me a favor. Share this show with everyone. Why? Because such great concepts were shared today. So I'm going to take all this off. And one last word. Literally, one last word. What can you say? Everybody, go for it.
Fun.
Environment.
Resilience.
Grow. Thank you, everybody. God bless you all. Have an incredible rest of your day. Take care.